Lemongrass and coconut. If you're expecting a recipe for a delicious Thai curry here, you're going to be sadly disappointed because today it's a lemongrass and coconut soap. Hey everyone, and welcome back to our channel. I'm Anne and the man behind the camera is Wayne, and together we are the Sussex Handmade Soap Company, and this is our YouTube channel. Today we are going to be bringing you a coconut milk and lemongrass soap. We are going to be using our own homemade coconut milk as a water replacement today, and we're going to be scenting our soap with lemongrass. If you want to see how we made our coconut milk, then do check out this video. Although it was meant to be educational, but due to the fact that everything that could go wrong pretty much did go wrong, it ended up being more comedic and more of a what not to do video. So give it a watch, but you may need to kind of make coconut milk your own way rather than necessarily following how we did it. Anyhow, moving on. This is the coconut milk that we did actually manage to make, and we will be using it in place of our water for today's recipe. Today's recipe is a very kind of simple soap recipe. It is our usual base recipe, and we are scenting it with lemongrass, and we're going to try and use some oxide powders to make it a nice green colour as well. So let's get straight on and show you how to do this. So the first thing I'm going to do today is weigh out my coconut milk, and we need 200 grams of coconut milk for this recipe today. And we're using coconut milk today as a full water replacement. And we're doing that because milk soaps are really lovely soaps. They feel really lovely on the skin. And we have done videos of goat's milk soaps before, but we haven't done any other kinds of milk. So I thought today we would do one that is vegan friendly. So if you don't like using animal products at all, you will be able to substitute goat's milk for coconut milk, and you'll be able to hopefully still have a lovely milk soap to use. So there is 200 grams of coconut milk in our jug just here. Now we need our lye. And I've already weighed out 109 grams of lye, which is the correct amount for our recipe here today. Obviously, if you make any substitutions or change any of the oils or butters around, you'll need to run the recipe through another lye calculator because the lye amount will probably change. But 109 grams is what we need today for our recipe. I'm going to slowly add it into our coconut milk, and our coconut milk is cold today. It has been in the fridge because milk soaps, or milk rather, will have the natural sugars in it. Even the coconut milk will have those natural sugars, and they could easily cause the lye mix to heat up more so than it usually would. So the coconut milk is cold. I could have frozen it, but I chose not to, so it is just fridge cold. And I have also got a bowl of cold water that I'm going to place our jug into to just hopefully keep the temperature lower. But it is going to be a case of adding the lye in low and slow. So what I'm going to do is just slowly add in the lye, and I'm not putting all of it in. I am just sprinkling a small amount to begin, and then I'm going to use my stainless steel spoon to incorporate that first bit of lye, and I'm going to be taking the temperature throughout. I don't want the temperature to get too hot. I don't want the milk to scorch and go horrible and brown or anything like that. So it is a long, slow job incorporating this lye, and it does rely on just constant temperature checking and having a little bit of patience. I'm going to continue doing this now, and I will kind of jump back on once the lye's all been incorporated, because it's probably going to be fairly boring for you to just sit here watching me mixing lye up for the next 15-20 minutes or however long. So off camera we are still adding the lye to the coconut milk, but while that is being done, I thought we would show you the next step. So here in this pan we have got all of our solid oils and butters. So that is coconut oil, cocoa butter and shea butter. And we're now going to melt these down gently over a low heat. And then once they are liquid, we're going to move on to our next step with combining the liquid oils and adding in the colours. So we're going to get these melted now. So now we have melted down our solid oils, we are going to add in our liquid oils, which are olive oil, sweet almond oil and castor oil. And just using a spatula to scrape this cup as clean as possible so we get as much of that oil out as we possibly can. And what I'm going to do now is take our colorant, and today we are using oxide powders. We have got chromium green oxide and we have got yellow iron oxide. And I'm going to now add these into our oils purely because they can be quite tricky to disperse. And if you add them at trace or anything like that, then they don't tend to incorporate very well. So I'm going to scrape them out into our oils now, and then I'm actually going to use a stick blender to give them a whiz and disperse them nicely in the oils before we actually move on to adding in the lye. And oxide powders are one of those tricky kind of substances that some people will say they're natural, some people will say they're not natural, and some people will say they're somewhere in the middle. And I kind of fall in the somewhere in the middle category. I prefer to say that they're kind of nature identical rather than natural, because they have gone through a process, so they can't, in my mind, be classed as 100% natural, but I don't personally feel them to be completely synthetic either. So I kind of go with a kind of nature identical opinion on these colorants. If you did just want to use completely natural colorants, then you could possibly try something like a spinach powder or chlorophyll or spirulina to try and achieve a nice green, or of course you could just leave it completely uncolored if you wanted to. I'm happy to use the oxide powders today though, because I think these actually give a really nice color that works perfectly for the lemongrass. And I'm just going to whiz them a bit to really incorporate that powder. So as you can see, those oxide powders have been really nicely incorporated now, and I do find that adding them to the oil and whizzing like that just really does help them to disperse a lot better than adding them any other way that we've currently tried. We get a nice kind of even green colour when we add them this way. So taking a quick temperature check, we are at 94 Fahrenheit for our oils, which is fine. Our lye is currently sitting at around about 101 degrees. And I have to say, as I was adding the lye into the coconut milk, I did quickly realise there's a lot more leeway for going slightly higher in temperature with the coconut milk than there is with something like an animal milk or a goat's milk. So we did actually go up to about 115, even pushing towards 120 Fahrenheit when we were adding our lye. And it has gone a kind of orangey brown colour, but there's no nasty smell, and I think that's going to be okay, especially when our soap's going to be green anyway. So I'm now going to combine the lye with the oils. And then we are going to use our stick blender to bring to a light to medium trace today. So there we go. I would say we've got quite a nice medium trace going on today. Definitely not light, but perfectly acceptable for our soap today. So now we are going to go in with our essential oil, our lemongrass essential oil, and we've got 14 grams here, and that works out to just under 1.6% of the total recipe weight. The reason we're going low today is that lemongrass essential oil is limited in soap. Didn't used to be. You used to be able to use it up to the full 3%. But within the last couple of years, I think it was, they reduced the limit. So you can now only use it at 1.6%, which is kind of annoying, but it is a strong smelling essential oil, so the smell does still come through. And I'm just blending this in. I'm just going to stir, I'm not going to whiz or anything, but I'm just kind of going to get a nice good stir to make sure that all of that essential oil is nicely and fully incorporated into our soap batter. And now it's going to be time to pour into our mould. And today we are using a 2.5 pound little loaf mould. And this should fill it up nicely. And just giving it a shake from side to side and a tap down to level the surface and help release any air bubbles that are in there. And I know that quite often you'll see me texturing the top of soaps, but with this lemongrass one, I think it actually kind of benefits from just being naturally simple. So all I'm going to do with this one is just run the spatula just back and forth across the top, just to kind of level the top a bit more and just smooth out the design so it looks a bit more level and pretty. And then we're going to leave it like this. And that is all we're going to do to that one. I don't think it needs any kind of additional decoration or anything. I think it is just beautiful in its simplicity. So what I'm going to do now is pop this to one side. I'm probably going to try and insulate it in my heated propagator. If you don't have one, pop it into a cardboard box, insulate it with a towel and check on it from every now and again to make sure it's not cracking. For some reason our lemongrass soaps seem more prone to cracking than any of the other scents we do. Don't know why that is, but it is something to note. So I'm going to check on it from time to time and hope it doesn't develop a crack. I'm also expecting some soda ash because, again, for some reason our lemongrass soaps seem more prone to soda ash as well. So fingers crossed we won't get cracking, but I expect we will get some soda ash. But we'll be back tomorrow anyway to chop it up and show you how it looks. So 24 hours later, here I am. We have unmolded our coconut lemongrass soap. It is looking and smelling good, so now it is time to chop it up. So as usual, just positioning it onto the soap cutter. And then going down through the soap, and that's cutting nice and easily. And now I shall show you the inside. So there we have a bar of our coconut lemongrass soap. It is very simple, quick and easy to make really, and I really like the green colour. I think it really does suit the lemongrass scent, and it doesn't need any other fancy decoration or texturing in my opinion. It just works well as a standalone pretty green bar of soap. There is not a huge amount more to say about it in all honesty, so I think I shall leave our video there for today. If you do enjoy our videos, then please do give us a like, give us a subscribe and leave a comment. And do consider joining us on Patreon as well if you want to. We are updating our Patreon site every week now with new recipes and new blog posts and things like that, and a link to that is in the description as well. I hope you've enjoyed today's video and we shall see you next week. And next week we are focusing on Easter. We've got a couple of Easter special videos coming out, so hopefully there'll be something for you guys to look forward to and enjoy, and we'll see you then. Bye for now.